Warning, Gen Loss is a horror series that includes derealization, death, blood, gaslighting, and moments of psychological and physical torture. This is my only warning for this video. Stay safe, dudes. I forgot to mention, also flashing lights warning. I have a cat on my lap, and also, I had my sensitivity for my mic up really high for some reason, and you could hear my chair squeak like a lot, and I'm sorry for that. So the day I'm recording this, it's June 14th, which means it's a day before the Founders Cut comes out. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, hi, why are you watching a Generation Loss video if you don't know what it is? And before we start, I just want to say that all of the subscribers that I have right now are from a video I made when I was like 16, and it had to do with Among Us. And it has an unfortunate name nowadays. So please hit that subscribe button. I do not want my entire subscriber base to consist of iPad kids. Please help me with that. So, Generation Loss. Generation Loss is a project made by Ranboo. I'm not going to go into full detail about the show. There's probably going to be a kill count of it. There's another video that I watched that was also a video essay about Generation Loss. Then you can watch them. I'm going to put it on screen because I don't remember, because I have 5 gore. The startings of Generation Loss were just Ranboo going, man, I want to make a horror series, and then they did, which honestly, valid. It's a good horror series, and you can tell that they actually do genuinely like the genre because, oh my god, episode 2 is literally just a Saw movie, but I'm getting too into it. Let's go through the first episode. I took notes. So, in the first few seconds, we're introduced to a company called Showfall, and then we're hit with the title card! We then see Ranboo just lying on the couch in front of a TV. And when they wake up from their eepy little sleepy buys, they try and take their mask off, which is, like, I would do that too. Who falls asleep with a metal mask on? Bro, that thing has wires and LEDs. That's not the most comfortable thing to sleep in. And as they're looking around the mysterious cabin that they find themselves in, they open the front door and find themselves in the woods, which would make sense if it weren't for the fact that there is no cabin behind them. They're not, like, leaving the cabin. They're just entering a new dimension, which, that's not how doors work. We get introduced to the interactivity part of this stream by, fucking killing Grandma. Well, she's already dead, so, like, Ranboo, like, freaks out seeing the urn getting knocked over, and, like, I would too, because that was someone's grandma. But also, they're having, like, a super abnormal reaction. Like, they're freaking the hell out. And then, after a bit, they just stop. The lights on their mask turn on, and almost, like, instantly they go into point-and-click character portion. And we're just gonna skip over this bit because nothing really important happens. They just get hit with a lot of books and bats because who doesn't love to torture their streamer? And oh my god, it's fucking Charlie Slimesicle. This whole time,
it's
Charlie's just doing a fucking
looks like our contestant is running out of slime. I mean slime.
But, like, how do you not do a Beetlejuice impression when you're doing a silly, goofy demon character? Also, Boston Kool-Aid Man style. I forgot to mention that.
Found my cabin!
Just a bit of banter. It's at this point that I remember that not everything that happens in Generation Loss is strictly lore requirements, but it's just all funny, and it's still really good. My favorite bit ever in the show is fucking Christian hell. They just go to Christian hell with the hell bats. And then Charlie, for some reason, makes Rambo cook for him. Okay, so I took a little nap, and by that, I mean I went to sleep. And it's the 15th, which means the Founder's Cut is coming out later. Sorry if you can hear my paper rustling, but that's the perfect time to continue rambling about this first episode. And then once the Founder's Cut comes out, I'm just gonna review that so I don't have to have like 7 hours of footage on my thing. Let's go. My computer. Fuck. So after the cooking show, which Rambo wins inexplicably, they get sent to the slime dimension, and then they unlock the basement. And also some lore, which is for some reason on the back of a ghoul. They take the tape off and they put it in the television from the living room, and they see a hooded, masked figure in the TV, and to stay calm, they try and take a nap, and after a long and good nap that did not end in third-degree burns, Rambo goes into the basement that they just discovered, where they find Germa's dollhouse real Easter egg. Okay, so editing Locust here. Part of the Founder's Cut was that they added like a sound effect or like a clip from Jeremy's dollhouse to when the dollhouse was added, and a lot of people for some reason think it's Charlie saying something to Rambo. So if you were one of those people who thought it was Charlie, it's just Jerma. It's just some audio effects put over it that make it sound like Charlie. And besides, their voices are kind of similar anyway. So, like, there you go. Mystery solved. And fucking
First of all,
snag. It's like 7 a.m. I don't want to yell too loud, but that's my
where's the slime
boy.
guy? His light.
I don't.
Frank
God,
is
it's
dead.
Frank.
Frank is very much.
Frank is
Frank,
very
it's
dead,
motherfucking
I think.
Frank.
Look at him.
Let's go,
He stands
let's
on his
go,
own.
let's go.
Sometimes.
My goats. These are my goats. Sneak's wearing a cool hat. I wonder if that has anything to do with lore. Anyway, Rambo tries to break out both Sneak and Frank, but they just can't for a bit until they find some bolt cutters. And then to test if the outside of the cage that Sneak is in is safe, he throws Frank and is like, hell yeah, this is all good. And then for some reason this whole time, Sneak's like convinced that Frank the skeleton wants to ride on this like rocking horse. So he puts Frank on the rocking horse, and oh my god, it's Charlie Slimesicle again. Sneak, look out, he's getting gooped. Oh my god. Explaining the first episode is like explaining a weird fever dream that you had. Sneak gets slimed, there's a fight scene, and Rambo ungoops Sneak by assaulting him with a towel, real thing I put in my notes, and then Sneak just packs Charlie away in the box. Oh hey, look at that website that is totally not their merch site. I wonder what that's doing here. Sneak and Rambo exit the basement and go through the rest of the cabin to the doorway that looks like it belongs in 2020, with the amount of cheap chains on the door. Rambo uses the bolt cutters from the basement to bolt cut, or at least chain cut, their way into this weird bedroom where there's just a chest with slime in it. Not like Charlie's Slimesicle, but just slime. Dude, I would straight up just like want to put my hands in that. I would put my hands in the chest of slime. There's also a huge painting of Charlie. Rambo decides that they're so tired from the 2 naps that they already took, and they take another sleep. Rambo gets so tired that they actually dream that they're in the Nightmare on Elm Street.
Penis.
And that Charlie Slimeskull is Freddy Krueger, I guess. Well, he's not that kind of Minecraft YouTuber. Apparently Sneak was awake the whole time and saw Charlie Slimeskull rubbing his ass on the wall. I'm regretting my life choices. Not in like, hey, I'm not gonna make this video way, in like a why did I in like a why is this my favorite web series of all time? So after a bit of bickering, Sneak rips the wall of like plastic that was used to make the Nightmare on Elm Street effect. And this is a little bit of a side tangent, but at the beginning of the episode, I don't have footage for this, but at the beginning of the live stream, we were allowed to make our own monster, and we picked a shark pickle lobster. So anyway, Sneak gets pulled into the room that he just cut open and gets roared by a shark and then becomes a shark pickle lobster and starts chasing down Ranboo. What am I describing? I promise it gets like not better but not worse. Charlie's in the final room and a boss fight ensues. We learn that slime is less effective when in warm/dry conditions, so Ranboo uses sunny day and it's super effective against the slime-type slimesicle. I just realized the slime demon rides on a little tricycle. God damn it, Ranboo. When talking about generation loss, everything is a Saw reference. I swear. So yeah, Charlie gets fucking absorbed with a little towel. And the episode ends, and we get a transmission from the masked man who introduces himself as Hetch. Hetch states his only goal is to get Rumbus Grumbus out of there. I don't think I trust masked men in VHS tapes saying that they're gonna get me out of there. Personally. Personally, that's not one of my favorite things. I don't fuck with that. But yeah, that's episode 1. So what are our takeaways? We're definitely seeing a few things that we shouldn't. Part of what we were supposed to observe from this episode is that when the lights are off, Ranboo's in full control of the goings-on, and when the lights are on, it's assumed that they're under some kind of mind control. They're uncharacteristically calm about, finding themselves in a cabin in the woods. God damn it, Ranboo. Everything is a horror movie reference with this fucker, dude. And when they get tapes from this Hetch character, they're in the off state. They're more likely to question why they are, because, who wouldn't? That's basically all the lore that we get. We're introduced to Showfall, we're introduced to Ranboo, Sneak, and Charlie, who are basically our main players for the next couple episodes, and that's it. So I'm going to stop recording, and then I'm going to wait for the Founder's Cut to come out, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to say more stuff later. Okay. Ranboo, you sick bastard. So, yeah, the Founder's Cut was actually just a cut-down version of the whole series. So, I'm gonna continue like everything is normal. But anyway, so after Ranboo leaves the cabin, he gets jumped by 2 people in rat masks. Surprised they're not pigs. Anyway, Ranboo wakes up in a saw trap, and they literally use Saw-style jump cuts, where Jerma as the puzzler, yes, Jerma is in this episode. Jerma's basically Jigsaw. So after the electric chair trap, Ranboo walks into a room with Charlie, again, strapped to a gurney this time. And Ranboo's told that he has to get the key out of him. So when Charlie wakes up, he's in a very dude bro-ish accent, and Ranboo's freaking out. He's like, I don't want to die, and he starts tearing into Charlie, who's surprisingly chill with getting his insides out. And then eventually the puzzler comes back on and he tells Rambo, hey, I never said the key was in him, you sick fuck. He just tore into a random guy for no reason. And Rambo's like, you literally said to tear him open. And he gets the key out of a toilet that was off to the side. I swear, I don't need a kill count for Generation Loss. I need a Saw reference count, like up in the corner. I'm probably gonna do that. I'm probably gonna do like a horror movie reference count in the corner. Speaking of Saw reference, Rambo leaves the surgery room and he finds the shotgun carousel from Saw 6. Oh my god, Rambo, please put the Saw references down. Literally, when analyzing Generation Loss, everything is a horror movie. Every reference is a horror movie reference. We see the puzzler IRL. He's wearing a purge mask. He was wearing that throughout the rest of the thing, but like, I want to bring that up now because he's just straight up wearing a purge mask. And then he takes off the mask and it's just, I mean, I guess that's what Sherma looks like. Good.
Oh, let me tell you, it was a bad day to be a cheesecake. I'll tell you that much.
The people on the carousel have to beg for their life, and apparently Charlie isn't dead. Like, he's still alive. And they bring him out, and they find something weird in his guts, and it's Sneeg's hat from the previous episode. And, to keep continuity, they just kind of put it on his head. And, he seems fine, right? But anyway, they go on to introduce our contestants. Ethan is unemployed. Austin is gay. Happy Pride Month. Oh my goodness. We see Frank, the goat. The goat. I love him. I love Frank. Best character in Generation Loss. Sneak's just a little piss baby, and he's just gotta go to the bathroom real quick. But some nice masked men escort him back in with a clean and fresh brain. I mean memories. I mean hat. I mean slime.
I mean slime.
Nikki is just really nice, and Vinny Vinesauce is a hoarder. Nikki and Sneak get picked for a puzzle, and Frank gets his jaw snapped off. That's real. And off to the side, Rambo finds a door. Rambo finds the door Willy Wonka's where him... Okay. By the way, I have notes that I was taking throughout watching this, and I just literally put, Rambo finds the door, Willy Wonka's, where him, Nikki, and Sneak play Mousetrap. The rats help. Did I ever mention I'm dyslexic? The whole point, I guess, with Mousetrap, I've never played it, and until this stream I had never even heard of it, is that you just kind of lose every part of the game every time you play. And one of the pieces that they're missing was actually inside Charlie, so Rambo leaves to go get that. And there are doors in this Willy Wonka room, and Nikki, for some reason, just goes and checks all of the doors to see if there's a key or an exit to help them. And apparently, the puzzler was behind one of the doors, and also was fucking packing heat and shoots Nikki point blank. He even fucking double taps her. Like, this is the first, on-screen death, and it's a shocking one. Holy fuck. They're all weirdly chill about seeing a dead body. And they bring in Vinny so that they can have, a new person to replace Nikki with. And they do an amazing heist. He then immediately dies by getting crushed to death with an anvil. Where the fuck did the anvil come from? You know what? I'm just gonna insert my favorite clips from the heist, and it's amazing. Just watch it.
I'm surprised 5 anvils haven't fallen.
I'm in safe.
It sounds like a skill issue, man.
Hey, down here. Hey, look down here. Hey, hey, Rambo. Hey.
What the hell? Out of here? How do we get out of here?
Rambo finishes the heist and they get teleported out by the puzzler. Everyone still alive meets in a huge closet. Pride Month! And the puzzler gives his little riddle and heads out.
Oh my House is way too big.
After a bit, they activate black light mode. So Rambo looks at all of the signs pointing to the door that the puzzler left through and goes, "That's a lie," and immediately puts Ethan through the other door, the one that says nope right above it, and then Ethan fucking dies. He gets crushed to death. And, like, does anyone else think that Austin is overreacting just a bit to seeing, like, a dead body? Just me? Okay. They finally go through the door that the puzzler exited through. Then they're given their final puzzle, which does not matter because the puzzler really fucking dies. He gets exploded. The button in the room that had really big "do not press" letterings just gets pressed, and then they play the world's most intense game of Wipeout as they all try to fight for this one square, like dominance over this one square, except like Sneak doesn't fight for the center, only Rambo and Austin do, and Sneak is just fighting to make sure that Austin isn't the one in the square. He doesn't make sure that he's in the square, no, he makes sure Austin isn't in the square. And that's not weird. Rambo gets to the puzzler's room where the puzzler left them a message and a key. Before Rambo can move on to the next room, Hetch shows up and sends a message. The flickering lights on Rambo's mask turn off, and they realize they're on a TV set. They're now aware, and we are directed to stop watching. So, it's kind of hard to go on to the third episode without directly stating that in the world of generation loss, the funny little deaths we've been seeing, the silly little death that happened to Vinny, where he gets crushed to death by an anvil, that fucking happened in not real life. He's still alive, but in the world of the show, Vinny's fucking dead, Nikki's dead, Ethan is dead, like all of them just died.
Oh, let me tell you, it was a bad day to be a
Streamer.
I'll tell you that much.
And we're just supposed to move on because Hetch wants Rambo to move on. And Hetch is trying to save Rambo. Also, if you weren't a Rambo fan, like from way back in the day, like 2020, hearing Rambo say fuck was like the biggest thing that ever happened. I like sometimes still tune into Rambo streams and like I hear him swear and I'm like Pavlov to not think that that's real. Like I'm Pavloved into thinking that's not real. Anyway, Hetch sends a message to the awoken Rambo that they're in a studio ran by Showfall and that Hetch finally broke through Showfall security. Rambo's told not to take off his mask. It's Hetch's only way of communication. Rambo is then told to ignore the camera that is pointed at him because there's just a guy with a camera following him, and to stay ambivalent to his friends dying, because the sudden realization that everything that just happened for real is like literally shaking his world, because he saw people die, for fuck's sake. I would too, Jesus. But once Rambo tries to leave, as Hetch is giving him his super important mission, Hetch reveals to him that his friends are still alive. He was just lying to him, and that he wants him to still have hope, and that he can get out of this, and all of his friends can get out of it too. So on their way to the server room, which is where Hetch's mission is going to lead him to, Rambo sees a fucking wire beast. They say it's for security reasons, but what the fuck are you, like, what is so important that you need a wire beast to, like, make sure all of your secrets are safe? And Hetch reminds Rambo of the ultimate NSU rule: stay ambivalent. We're reintroduced to the masked individuals with Mr. Squiggles' face. I never mentioned Mr. Squiggles, but he's more important in the Founder's Cut. And he's just a little guy. He's just the mascot of Showfall. We're told that the company makes missing posters of the streamers so no one will get suspicious if they're missing. What kind of fucking logic is that, anyway? We get a transmission from Charlie, and it looks like he's streaming. Showfall has been planning everything from the beginning, having whiteboards in the offices, planning out everything that will happen in the past 2 streams. And if you didn't notice, there's a 3rd whiteboard, but we'll touch on that later. While Rambo's stressing out about their task, Charlie is just still streaming from his setup at the time. Finally, Rambo gets back to the server room with 3 codes to unlock the entire system, and Hetch suggests that we throw it to the audience, but Rambo throws out that idea and puts in the wrong code, which lets out the monster. As Rambo's fleeing the situation because there are sirens going off right now, we get to the food court where people are streaming until Rambo finds Charlie at a Charlie's Philly cheesesteak booth that has an exact replica of his streaming setup. Charlie is like in this trance where he's just making bits, he's doing his thing, and then Rambo takes off his headphones, and all of a sudden he is aware that he is just not in his home. He starts remembering the happenings of the past 2 episodes, and Rambo's just trying to get them both the fuck out of there. They both try to find a directory so they can find said way out of this location, but right behind the directory, there's a slumped over body of one of the masked workers, and we look and we see the wire beast. And so Rambo and Charlie run like hell to get away from the wire beast until they run into more masked individuals, until they find like a Bass Pro Shop or like a like war store. I don't know how to describe it because they find bulletproof vests. They're in a mall and they're finding bulletproof vests and hunting knives. I get this is America, and I'm saying this as an American. Why is that in a mall, dude? They go through a back exit into a hallway where they get chased down the hallway and back into Charlie's setup somehow. They get cornered on almost every side as they're making their exit until they run upstairs and go the saw trap until they find a boarded up exit and find an opened Hetch. Hetch reveals to them both that they had their memories wiped, and Hetch gives them a map to shut down the whole shebang. Rambo gets a little too excited about the idea of not being in the Showfall Mall, so he fucking stabs a guy, and wires come out, and after a tangly disembowelment, they find the set for the cabin. The button to shut down the show is off to the side, but what is also off to the side is the fucking wire beast, which goes straight for Charlie, and his final words to Rambo are to get the fucking button. But I should note that he says it in this kind of weird robotic voice, which, not how people speak, by the way. Rambo runs to the button, and it's a fucking buzzer beater because there's a masked individual right behind him. And as they're enjoying their victory over Showfall, Rambo finds an exit, they take a bow, and Hetch gets him from behind. Rambo wakes up in what looks like a smaller Iron Maiden. Hetch explains that the founder allowed Hetch to perform experiments. We're given the choice to kill Rambo, which will free them from the cycle made by Hetch, or they can live and they're forced to remain in this hell forever. We kill Rambo, and they thank us. Wait, what the hell is that?
This is the first treatment you've come to in a while, Miss Rhodes.
Yeah, well, I thought I was okay. It's my dreams.
Your dreams?
They've been different, more vivid, scary.
Have you considered writing these down, Miss Rhodes? Sometimes dreams tell us more than we know.
Yes, I'm sure I could. Sorry, I just have a request.
Yes, Miss Rhodes?
Please just call me Zero. So for this section, I'm going to ignore the Zero stuff that just happened, and I'm just gonna give my unadulterated thoughts because why not? So Showfall is a representation of content creation as a whole. Basically, since we only see streamers and YouTubers being the actors in Showfall, it's basically saying to us that every person that we watch has been kidnapped by Showfall. I'm assuming that the only people that get kidnapped by Showfall are bigger streamers because I don't know. But they could also be abducting smaller ones too. And with the abductions, they're also making content farms. Editing Locust back here. So I've changed my original theory, and what I'm now assuming is that Showfall uses streamers less like people and more like livestock when making these shows, because it's obvious that Hetch, who is probably second to the founder, or at least very high up in Showfall, does not seem to care about the streamers or actors that we see in Generation Loss. So I think the point is it's a more extreme version of a content farm, because like Showfall is making slop. Like they're ripping off the Saw movies, they're ripping off I don't know what they'd be ripping off in the spirit of the cabin, but they're definitely ripping off something, maybe cooking shows. But either way, they're using large content creators to push their own brand forward. So, fuck Showfall. I guess Showfall is like Disney in this world. But anyway, back to my original analysis. But also, Showfall puts streamers into their own boxes. And this is gonna get a little weird, so stick with me. So when we're introduced to all of the characters on the Shotgun Carousel, we're introduced to a few familiar faces. We're introduced to Ethan Nestor, Vinny Vinesauce, Austin Show, and Nikki Nichu. We're also introduced to Sneak Snag, but his character is kind of just... I'll get back to Sneak Snag. But all of these characters are just what they're perceived to be. I haven't really watched most of the people in the Shotgun Carousel. I've only really watched Nikki. And her public perception at the time was that she was just a nice girl and people liked her because she was just nice. And that's all people really had to say about Nikki at the time, was that she was just a nice girl. And I'm guessing Vinny Vinesauce being a hoarder is just a joke within his community. So is Ethan being unemployed. And Austin, the only thing the lower third had to say about Austin is just that he's gay. And that's a common sentiment people have when talking about Austin Show, that he's just gay. And why wouldn't that be public perception of him? That's all he is to him. And that's all any of these guys are to Showfall. Nikki is nice, Ethan is unemployed, Vinny is a hoarder, and Austin's gay. Editing Locust back here again. So before the Founders Cut was released, we were given these diagrams, made by Hetch, by the way, of glasses and hats, and also Rambu's mask being used to update their memories to whatever show that they're being a part of. And Austin is the only one out of everyone in this show to either not wear a hat or glasses. And this whole second episode, he's doing things that won't really mesh with what Showfall would want him to do. Like, he goes against what his lower third says. He says that he's straight and that he has a wife and kids, and that he, like, reacts negatively to people dying, which is something Rambu and Sneeg, who are wearing hats and masks, don't really object to. They treat it like a normal Tuesday. So Austin's like a huge part of the show, accidentally. I don't think accidentally. This whole show was very much well planned, but like, he is central to how Showfall works and how they run. So if next season everyone is wearing like either hat, mask, or glasses, you know what the fuck is going on, okay? Keep that in your noggin. Don't let Showfall take those memories. Now, I'm coming back around to Sneeg. I know I said I wasn't gonna go into too much depth on the behind the scenes, but all Sneeg had to say about his character was that he was just a dude. He was just a guy. And I hate to say it, but that's also his perception around the internet, is that he's just a nice, friendly dude, and that he's cool. And fuck if that's not my perception of him. He seems like a cool dad. He seems like a cool guy. Also cool dad. The final scene that we see of Rambu is their death. And this is what is the most important part to me, because do you notice what shape that Iron Maiden is in? It literally could have been any shape. Any death would have kind of just been perfectly fine. Anyone would have been suffice. But he specifically killed in an Iron Maiden that's shaped like a box, which, yeah, could be he's being put in his box. He's being cemented as a character. But Rambu started their career as a Minecraft streamer, and to some people, that's all they're ever going to be. It's a little depressing, but to most, all Rambu is just a Minecraft streamer. And to someone, they're never going to break out of the box. That is what the box means. That's what Rambu's death ultimately means. Their death is pointless. Us watching their death means that the show was still going on. We're still seeing a production from Showfall. It's possible that even the mall that we see is not even the headquarters of Showfall. This is just another set within a set. So Rambu died for basically nothing. And that's what the saddest part is. And they keep saying that in the next Generation Loss series that comes out, or I guess season. This is technically a season of Generation Loss. Generation Loss is a series, and they're split into seasons. But my guess is that means their death means that they're not going to be the main character of the next season. However, I don't think that they're actually going to go away in a way that matters. They're possibly going to end up being a background character, or they might cameo as one of the masked individuals. Either way, that sets up two options for what this kind of death means in a Showfall. Basically, either the death is a routine part of adding new actors to the cast, or two, that death is a way to get rid of them but still keep them around. I really like the idea, personally, that if you get killed in Showfall, that's basically your initiation ritual, and like you just permanently become a fixture of the whole series. And I was like thinking about it earlier, and I was like, wouldn't it be funny if like every like YouTuber has to go through this? And then I was imagining like what each YouTuber's death would be, and like I thought of Thought of Markiplier getting spring trapped, or like Matt Pat getting crucified on a corkboard. Every streamer just gotta have their fucking Danganronpa execution, I guess. But that's it for my analysis. And I want to hear the thoughts of the people. So please, in the comment section down below, let me know your personal theories. And if you want to talk to me on Twitter, here is my Twitter @ here is also my Twitch if I ever decide I want to stream again. And thank you for watching. I know that generation loss is kind of a big topic, and I don't know if anyone will be watching this far into a video essay about fucking generation loss. But if you have, thank you for watching, just genuinely. And if you can, please donate to these charities, and it would mean the world to a lot of families if you can just donate. I currently do not have any money, and this is like the best way I can think of just sharing donations that need to be just sharing charities. God. Also, there's an auction currently going on. Maybe if I get this uploaded in time, where they're selling like actual items or like pieces of clothing from the show. And god damn it, if I don't want the cameraman one. The auctions immediately go to the health aid for Palestine. So genuinely, so check out that bit.ly link. That's also in the description. And yeah, I don't know how to end this video. I guess be nice and respect people's pronouns. Bye.
If doesn't like email me after this video goes up and say
Locust.
you've cracked the code, I'm never gonna
Watch Gen Loss.
ever again.